Welcome to yet another edition. And today we have Judith. Judith is from North America and she has been engaging with the ICANN community. And, she is a wonderful leader who have been promoting youth as well as women, as well as different other stakeholders. So Judith, the question that I have for you is, within the ICANN multi-stakeholder model, how do you see it evolve and what are the challenges that you believe are coming up?
Well, the challenges in the multi-stakeholder model are how do we keep engaging the stakeholders, the different communities? Whereas I come from the at-large community, which is we represent the voice of the internet end user, and many of us come to ICANN and we come on our volunteer time, and it's hard to keep engaging people into coming and participating in it. And it's especially harder for either persons with disabilities or other things because there's no real promotional the fellowship is the only outlet, and it's harder for persons with disability to come on there because some of the initial training that hasn't been revised is not accessible for persons with disability. It's mostly the later courses they've done that have been, but it's also always a challenge on there. And as well as ICANN is very acronym heavy, so it's very hard to get involved, and so it takes a lot of effort. You need a good mentor tutors, like the issues of the fellowship people come through there, or if you have another mentor. But depending on what issues you want to get involved in, you can easily get involved, especially in at-large. We have not, policy in ICANN is very different than policy elsewhere. Policy elsewhere is more open and not as technical and jargon-free, whereas policy in ICANN is very technical. But people are often forgetting that besides the technical parts, there's also many policies such as the multi-stakeholder model, the operations policy, the governance documents, other types of documents where it's not as very technical and it's easier for newer people to get involved and to read the documents, to understand them. And so that's sort of where I was seeing that. And this year, in our response to the strategy, public comments on that, we looked to engage the stakeholders. And within at-large, we published some surveys to try to gauge what the community was thinking so that we can then interpret it and use it to help us put our public comment forward. So it's a very important stakeholder model. I also think it is easier for people outside the community, for governments and others, to have a better idea what multi-stakeholder means when they come here. So when governments come here, they see there's no separate line for other ones. While they have their own sessions, they are also other civil society people, even in the government section, observers and others, and they go to other sessions and they see that it's an interaction, so they get an understanding of what is a multi-stakeholder, whereas before then you could explain it to them, but they wouldn't have a full understanding of it because they didn't experience it. And they need to first experience it to really understand and bring the lesson home to their governments when they do policy.
The next question to you is, especially when you look at this community, the engagement from the different other stakeholders is very limited. I mean to say, when I say other stakeholders, I mean to say the fresh or the young blood, like a lot of the people are not, they are coming, but they're not engaging. So what should be the effort towards getting those people into the policy development process?
Well, I think they're not engaging because they feel the policy is too difficult or IT. That is why I'm stressing that they engage in different areas. So within at-large, we have a big focus, which is an equal focus, on the operations policy, the governance policy, which could be the multi-stakeholder model, the ICANN strategy, as well as in the finance and the budget areas. So we are looking at those which are easier for people to understand who are new. They have the same jargon, but they're easier for people to understand. And then as they get working on those, they can gravitate to some other ones that are not. There are some ones that are not as complicated, but it all depends on having a good person explain them all. So, and also understand from other people how it is that they could help them. You know, the transfer policy one is a very arcane one, but you also see how end users can get impacted by that. They often, people not in ICANN don't know, they find from a friend who's a good website developer and they want to set their own brand, but they don't realize some of the things that they need to look out for them, and that the company that they may have chosen is not a good one, and is sloppy and doesn't registers their domain under them and not under their own name, so they're not getting the renewals. And then as in other things, you have scammers who buy up domains just to buy them and then sell them back to make a profit. And so you forget the individual end user doesn't have those. So in at large, it's our job to help protect the end user. So that's why some certain policies, areas that might be difficult, are so important, like the transfer policy review thing, how long it takes to transfer a domain, what are the steps to protect individual users for those, and looking at that. We focus a lot on DNS abuse, on mitigation, how to look out. Most people don't know, they click on the link, they use QR codes to do other stuff. So we need to do a better job educating people.
So thank you, Judith, for this. Thank you.